Okay, that's all right. We won't mention any of your names here. This is just really for our own knowledge base. Okay, and we also have other people still coming in the room. We just want to stall here for a second. Okay, so some of you have completed it, some of you have not. The good news is that we are a perpetual mastermind group, and I have to constantly iterate this because during the early development of this course, Matt pointed out to me that people do not understand that this is once a member, always a member. That means that you pay for this training once. It's used as a voucher against your entire university curriculum, which is levels 1 through 5, the 5th being the live certification event. Even if you do not make it to the live certification event in this year, 2015, upcoming year, it's available in anytime upcoming, the latter part of the year. So this is your own pace. This is your own ambition. We just want to give you the opportunity to level up without feeling like you have to start all over again. And part of that is because we want to get you to the point where you're using all of these things that Matt is showing you, that Sue and Jimmy are showing you, and all the different modules, including the bonus advanced courses like Traffic Hospital. We have students who've been with us for years. Some of them are making upward of $30,000 to $50,000 a month with their own agencies. I wanted to put a believable number because we do have 2 people that are making way more than that, but it doesn't sound believable. So one of the key points is to be utilizing the tracking and measuring methods that Matt's going to be showing you today, and the case studies that he'll be showing you also. These are things that you can prepare. You can even use ours. You can use anything that you've learned from us, and clients love that if you have clients. And if for your own business, you should be using these to make sure that your definition of success is really, really clear. Let me just go ahead before we jump in, Matt, because this is the big finale here. Looks like Matt. Oh, looks like Matt already answered that question. Yeah, that's good, Jared. Jared has asked to my statement, what is it? If we're perpetual, we can join Cert 2 now and go through the training. The live events, webinars will just be later, correct? Yes, Jared, I would recommend that you sign up for part2.swallowyourmarketwhole.com. The training, it's a little bit weird because part 2 is probably some of the best webinar material that I personally have ever provided. When Sue and Matt and Jimmy designed that module, I didn't have a lot to do with the framework. There's a neuromarketing and content stacking module in there, which pushed me to my absolute limits. I put stuff in there that I never gave away before on what's called meme stacking, and actually I'm writing a book. I don't know if you guys know this, but I am writing a book on neuromarketing, and most of the material in that book made it into Webinar 2. And that's not even the good stuff. That's like, oh, by the way, Russell's entire book is in there, which is very practical, very step-by-step on how to completely jack memes on Facebook and everything. That's not even the good stuff. The good stuff is Matt and Sue and Jimmy getting into things like advanced one-feed setups. We drill quite a bit more into one-feed on part 2, and all those webinars are there than we do in part 1, because in this training that we did, and Matt and I did in week 6. And that's because we just wanted to get your toe in the water, so to speak. It's just an introduction into how everything's connected. We don't want to overwhelm you because the core focus is getting you tried, tested, and true here, getting the basics in a row, and then we acclimate you, to part 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
can I commentate on that point?
Yes,
Russell?
please do. Yeah, thanks, Matt.
The reason why we give you guys the introduction to RSS on this phase 1 stage is because you need to get the foundation set up correct and make sure it's working. In phase 2, in take 2, what we teach you to do is how to bolt on the new components to those feeds to expand the actual broadcasting network, which gets a bit more advanced. So
yeah,
once you get this phase 1 right, then phase 2, you just expand on it.
Yeah, and to that note, we have things, Jarrett, it's a little bit weird because, and really cool, it's never really been done before what we're trying to do. And we've got a few other people in the industry watching us because this has not been done before, where once a member, always a member. Not only that, each level is perpetual. So what that means is that we have one student, I think Brian Hassler, who's not here today, and a couple of other students, I think Neil, I don't think he's here today either. They simultaneously were taking 3 certification courses at the same time. They were taking part 1, and I don't necessarily recommend that. I mean, of course, I like, to get your money and all that, but I don't want you to be overwhelmed. I don't want you to I don't want you to bite off more than you can chew, but I simply couldn't stop them. So they were taking part 1, part 2, and the automatic video traffic course, which is one I teach, all at the same time. And they were all on different days. Now, the reason they felt that they could do that is that when one of them dropped the ball on, say, automatic video traffic course, they can come back around and rewatch the videos at their own pace because they know that they have access always to that training once it's paid for. So that is one way to go for it. That being said, let's move away from certification. If you have questions, please contact Matt or myself or Sue on Skype. We'll get into that a little bit later. I'm going to step right out of the way. Today is testing, measuring traffic engagement. And again, no better teacher that I can recommend than Matt. This is really powerful stuff. And even if you don't get every single thing during this boot camp, just know that you can aspire to getting back. When you get to the point where you're tracking and measuring the things that he's going to be showing you today, you're getting to a place where your profitability will skyrocket. All of the business decision setups that he's giving you throughout this course that we've talked about will come to fruition because you'll be able to track, perform what we actually call engagement. Okay, everything he talks about in his last test, in his testing scenario, is what I call engagement, and it's very, very related to engagement rank, which we've talked about earlier. Yeah. So with no further ado, I get out of the way, and Matt, thank you very much.
Thank you, Russell. Morning, guys. Could you all give me a 1 if you can hear me clearly? Just get the tech test out the way quickly. Okay, cool. Right, guys, so this is week 8. Let me just zoom in here. And this is basically check analytics and check that everything's correct in Webmaster Tools. So when you look at the system, essentially you can see it runs in a perpetual loop where we start looking at what we're selling, we find the pains, we do our market analysis, we extract the keywords, we map out our silo structures in DWS telling our story, and then essentially we build our site. We create a silo, we add our categories of supporting articles, drop our content in, put our first version of our content in there, and then we push it and we get it live, and then we see what happens. And we come back around again, check analytics, do some more research, bolt on a silo, check analytics. And what I've done for you this week is essentially we've created a report for you guys, okay? So what this does is this looks at the WRS2. This is when you're broadcasting, when you got your blog live and you're broadcasting, and it looks at all the social signals and the traffic that's coming in off your blog. So I created a dashboard for you guys over here. All you got to do is log into your Google Analytics and then click on this button, and it will actually automatically install over here. It's called the WR1 blog dashboard. I've been working on a few more other things here for you guys as well. They're not finished yet, but essentially this is the one here, and this will track your blog. You can see your traffic, you can see where traffic images are coming from, okay, what's happening on Facebook, we can see keywords, we can see where the people are from, okay, you can check if it's mobile, what language, screen resolutions, what countries, okay, so that's basically what it does. Now, what I want to speak to you guys about today is just your site audit and your checklist. Now, essentially, once you've built your site and it's live, like Sassy, what I usually do at this stage here is I go through a site audit. And I do a site audit after every time I bolt on a silo. And what I do there is I just basically check a few things are working. Okay, so obviously, yeah, we've got the bank account connected and our buy button's working. That's one of the components of selling stuff. Next, we look at our analytics. We check that the data's running. We check our blogs are publishing properly. We then actually go and check on site. We start fixing up all the tags and all the issues. We then jump into Webmaster Tools, submit our sitemap, make sure that any of our semantic markup's done properly. If we're doing that, there's a plugin coming out soon for you guys that does it for you. There's also what we're checking is, are there any technical errors on our website? Is Webmaster Tools not happy with certain stuff? Are they indexing the site properly? Then we actually go ahead and check if our site is getting indexed. Is it appearing in the search engines? So you guys must know all this stuff by now. Okay, so I won't get into too much of that. But just as a good measure, good IT skills, that you got to do housekeeping. Every week you got to go through, or every month, or every iteration of the process. from an IT perspective, you must always go do house cleaning. If you don't do house cleaning, this is where technical issues come in, and this is where you find that you'll leave folders open and people can break into your site. You might find that there's certain things that you've not closed down. So always just go back around, just make a habit of it, and check that all your stuff's tidied and locked away when you finish with the job. Okay, so on this page on week 8, I give you guys a whole bunch of things to look through. It's a very short little one, but it's just the basic, the core things I check, and it's the dashboard. Okay, so let me hop back here. So the next thing what I did for you guys, which I've been working on for about a year now, just testing and measuring, because I wanted to demonstrate to you guys the power of what silo architecture is with a few basic components. So this is a case study I've been speaking about. You'll find it over here at the bottom of the members area called case studies, and I'll click into that. But essentially, while that's loading up, what we did there was we just wanted to see how the silo architecture works and what were the results, and you can read all about that underneath test 1. But one thing I want to quickly talk about here is definitions and terms and calculations. I put some information in here to sort of give you some insights on how I track things. Okay, I use a program called AWR Cloud, and what I do with that tool is I'm watching visibility, and it's quite an interesting way to look at the site. But what I'm essentially doing is I'm watching all my keywords that I'm tracking in the tool floating up at the same time. I watch how they rise, and it works with a point system. So if my keyword's in position number 1, it gives me 30 points. If I'm in position number 30, it gives me 1 point. If it's below past 31, then it doesn't even factor it into the equation. And that allows us to see these metrics of how our keywords, our DNA braid, is actually spreading across the web. This is essentially what I'm watching happen. So you can see on this chart here in the case study, this is one of our competitors, the green line. That's their visibility. They're probably like at 100 in points. Whereas I came in with this normal silo architecture over here, and I came in like at 2,000 points. And that just indicates to us that this is how our keywords are rising in the rankings. So in the case study, I purposely kept the content very thin. You can read all about it here underneath the scenario and when I explain the tests. And what we did here is we did a test on silo architecture to see how far this can take us and how stable it is. We looked at site speed and CDNs. Okay. We talked about the semantic web freebase. Okay, and these are courses that Kevin's done. You can find the semantic course in the members area if you've not done it yet. Go read through that. That's very good. The CDNs, this is more of an advanced thing, but I thought it was important to demonstrate what happens when your site loads quickly. Okay, so the reason why I'm talking about it here is when people build these sites, they tend to get excited and they buy a lot of marketing plugins and they start installing plugin after plugin after plugin to do particular types of functions. But that makes it bloats up the blog and it makes the blog slow. Okay, and when the blog's slow and it's running slow, or they put too many images with all the HTML5 functions that are coming out. So then what essentially happens here is the site slows down, and that slow speed has a direct impact on how your keywords rise in the search engines. Okay, so that's when you do your normal IT maintenance and you clean your site up, just pull all those plugins out. Even if they're just sitting there inactive, they still install stuff into your actual blog. So just pull out all the junk. The stuff you don't use, pull it out, delete it, get rid of it, and then clear the database cache within WordPress. WP Manage is a good tool that I use just to manage the blogs, clear the caches, clear the stored posts, and that allows the database to run fast and it makes it quickly. And you can see basically the impact here it has. Okay. So then the next one I speak about here is on-page optimization. We can see that little jump over here. I cleaned up a few things, sort out the H tags, the title tags, tweaked a few of the URLs, and you can see it, rankings climbed again. So when we do these basic technical processes and we clean things up, the search engines reward us. And this is what this actual case study is all about, is to show you just with pure silo architecture, where we build in DWS, then taking Russell's persuasion training, dropping our content on top, and then getting the site live and letting the search engines do what they need to do with it. We've reaped a lot of rewards. We've got tons and tons of rankings. So I'm going to open up SAS here quickly. This we've got like a reference point. And we're going to have a quick look at what's actually happened to the site. So on the case study, take your time, read through this. If you've got any questions, ask me, but I'm not going to go through that all the way now. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to look at the architecture and how it relates to search and what's getting ranked. We're going to look at the speed of the site. We're going to look at where we pulled components out. We're going to look at what's happened with the click matters and the attention tracking. So what I've got open for you here is essentially Google Analytics. I'm going to pull Crazy Egg in over here on the side because this gives us our metrics of what's happening on the site. Crazy Egg gives us our visual tracking, and we're going to look at what's happened with the silo architecture. Now, in the case study, I just want to go to Majestic quickly and just show you guys. Okay, let's start at the end. Many people build sites, right, and they focus on backlinks. They build sites to build backlinks, and there's backlinks, 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 backlinks. I want to show you guys today that backlinks mustn't be the priority. It's your promotions and it's your advertising and it's how you tell your story that should be the focus when you build your sites. Okay, so with Sassy, we've got 2 backlinks to the page. We've got zero trust flow, but we've got a citation flow of 14 running through the site, and this is because I submitted the sites to one of the. So there we got. Where's it here? Yellow Pages, okay, that's a business directory, and SA Direct's a business directory. These are 2 new things that have come up, which is not from us. So I'll have to go look and see what that's about. Okay, but we'll go back to this. So there we check here. We've got 2 backlinks, okay? But look what's happened to the site. We've got hair, Port Elizabeth, wedding, Port Elizabeth, makeup, Port Elizabeth. The 2 backlinks, top verticals. This is us searching for hair, Port Elizabeth. That's the top of a vertical, if you think about it. It's the locale she works in, and it's hair. This is the primary keyword that defines hair. With 2 backlinks, we've hardly flicked our finger, but essentially we've got Sassy in positions 5 and 6 over here. We've got a double listing. Okay. We've got our address on the main page. They can see where we are. Okay. If I look at another one, here's hair salon. So we're taking hair and adding salon into it. Then we've got another listing over there. Sassy Hair Salon, first choice for hair and beauty. Okay. If we look at makeup, there's Sassy again. If we look at wedding hair, there's Sassy again in position number 3. If we look at wedding makeup, there's Sassy again at the bottom of the page. And I've only built the WR1 money site. This is the only thing we've got here is Sassy and Facebook at this point in time, and a Pinterest account. Okay, so when you build your site up nicely, silo architecture, and you write your story and you apply what Russell does, and you clean your site up and you make it run faster, things start moving and we get a lot of coverage. And you'll see in the case study, it's a lot of detail. It's really good. So analytics, let's jump straight into analytics now. This is what we're here to talk about this week. Okay, so this dashboard, when you load it up and it connects to your site, it will start monitoring all your blog posts. Okay, so here we can see Pinterest is already giving us 53 people. We can see how many people are coming in on a keyword. Okay, so can you guys give me a 1 if you're familiar with Google, or 2 if you've not used Google Analytics much? I just want to see how comfortable. 1 if you're super comfortable with analytics, and 2 if you're not. I want to introduce you guys into the idea of building your own dashboards today. Okay, so we've got a 50-50. Right, so what Google gives us here, guys, is a dashboard, okay? And it gives us the ability to make things. So with this dashboard I've created here, when I scroll to the top here, okay, it allows me to add widgets, it allows me to do all kinds of stuff. I can add segments, okay. And basically a segment is when we take the data set and we actually cut a piece out of it and we find out what's going on. So I just want to jump onto this one here, 70 facts about the site, and let's have a look at this. We can play with this. So this is another little dashboard I've been working on for you guys here, and essentially what this allows us to do is to segment our stuff. And the way I go about doing this is, what countries are bringing us traffic? So the US, Russ and I have been testing some stuff, and we've got a lot of traffic coming through there. But we're also getting you guys visiting from all over the world. But essentially, we're interested in, okay, what's coming in from South Africa over here? So we've got a bounce rate of 7%, which is not bad. It's pretty low if you think about it. So then what cities are they coming from? So when I clicked on here, this allows me to edit the segment. And what I did was I basically added another segment that basically gives me only show the country containing South Africa. And when I did that, it showed me all the places in my country. So 87 people are coming to my site, and we've got a 5% bounce rate. So what I can do now is I can actually come and start breaking this down, and I can actually get to really see how my market personality is consuming. So out of all the traffic we got in the last month, November to December, okay, 87 of those people were from the city that we're in. Okay. Well, okay, there's some questions here. Okay, that's Russ and Jared having. Okay. Jared, if you get stuck there, I'll give you a hand. Don't worry about that. I can get you sorted out.
No, he's good. It's
but
just,
look at this here. Most of the audience.
oh, I'm just saying that he's fine.
Okay,
If you guys don't have a website inside Google Analytics, you're going to have difficult time receiving the panel. So make sure that you're actually connecting it, receiving it with a Gmail account that has Webmaster Google Analytics. But he figured he sorted himself out. He's good, Matt.
Okay, no worries. Sorry, guys. When you click on that download button, it's going to ask you what site you want to connect that dashboard to. So if you haven't got analytics up, sorry, I just assumed by this time if you got your site ready, you'd have analytics. Sorry, that's a good thing. I must actually put that note in the coaching area there, Russ. Okay, let's get back here. So let's look at this report quickly, just to see what's happening with SASE. So we can see that we've got 87 users coming in, 5% bounce rate, nice and low. We're not too worried about that. We can check what devices they're using. So most of these users that have come in are actually on their iPhone. Okay, so this is really important for the site design technically. We must be able to demonstrate and show our site on devices. So the theme I chose for SASE was mobile ready already, and I've tested it, and you can actually see my device has been on here. I've been playing around with it. It's the S4. This is the device. That's my device. So I just keep on checking it every now and then, but there's also other people doing it. Okay. But here we can see that most of the people that look at our site are Apple users. Okay. And that's quite interesting and important. So then mobile becomes really important as we communicate. And it makes absolute sense because most of these ladies are also looking at SASE's Facebook page. Okay, so if you look at the Facebook analytics, it tells us a similar story as well. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to hop between Crazy Egg and I'm going to hop between analytics, and we're going to look at the sites, and we're going to see how we can improve things. Okay, this is what I typically do. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to reshuffle stuff. I'm going to go to Crazy Egg first. I'm going to go to Ducklet, and I'm going to put my site here. No, that's not the site. Sorry, here's the site here. Right, so here's the index page of SASE. So in Crazy Egg, what I do basically, guys, is I create a page for my index page, my about page, my contact page, because that's essentially going to become the lead funnel, and I do one for my hair silo, my makeup silo, my wedding silo landing page, and then 2 pages I consider being important. And I do that because I've got 8 snapshots. Okay, I can track 8 things with this account I'm using. Okay, this is set up for SASE, and we don't have many pages, so we don't want to go spend a lot of money buying a bigger account. This is sufficient for what we're testing right now. Now, what I want to find out when I do this type of process is, okay, what do people do when they get to my site and what catches their attention? I'm trying to get into understanding what they click on, what's catching their attention, how do they like consuming information, and where are the hot places in the site. So let's just look here quickly at the index page. I'm going to jump in here quickly because this tells us a very interesting story. Now, when we use mobile devices, what's interesting is that this banner ad disappears. You don't get to see it on the mobile device. But the first thing the guys click on, literally within 60 seconds, is here. They go to the first menu. And I was wondering why that happened, and that's what brought me down to the mobile device thing. The people on computers are actually going straight to the banner and they're clicking over here. So when I look at this, straight away I can scroll down the page and I can see there's not much movement on the page. There's people touching stuff in odd places, and that's probably from the phones when they're moving up and down the screen to have a look. Right, so this is the heat map, and we can see here that hair has the most interest. That's at the heart of what these people are clicking on our index page. So if you think of the traffic, they're hitting this page, they're clicking on hair, or they're clicking on the banner, and they're coming back to wedding. Okay, so when I look at the scroll map, what are the people looking at when they actually come here? So this shows me the hotspots. The whiter and the color is, the hotter it is. That's where the attention is, and that's where it's cold. When we look at this home page, we're basically losing this whole page. It actually has no value. They're not even seeing our phone number over here. So on the home page, I have to either put a video in here, or I have to change the graphics to encourage the guys to look down, almost have a strong call to action on this actual banner, telling them to do something. Okay. Number two, the headline over here, this is what they're only seeing. Okay, as they're scrolling down, they're not getting to see all this kind of stuff. So this is on the home page, this is the only equity I have right at this moment in time. Okay, and this is very important when you actually look at your site. Because if you don't know this stuff, where people are looking and what screen equity you have to work with, there's a lot of traffic that you're going to lose. So when I look at this now, I'll essentially have to think, okay, how can I grab their attention here? And how can I steer them into the funnel straight away? And what can I do? How can I redirect these guys? Now with banners like this, when the guys click, the images are clickable. We can actually link the images to the actual page we want to take them to. So those are the options I have for this right now. When we look at the confetti, this is quite cool because this gives us the ability to actually filter and see exactly where the people are clicking on that are coming from the locale we're after. Okay, so that's from yellow pages. The guys are going straight to here. So remember that link that we had here in Majestic? That's my yellow pages page here. Those people are coming from there and they're going straight to here, which means they want to get the hair cut. That's the translation I'm making in my mind. That's 5 people that have come in there. If we go up to Facebook, we can see they click on hair, wedding, and makeup. So the Facebook audience, their attention is basically on hair, weddings, and makeup. Those are the things they're interested in. If we go to Facebook again, we can see they're clicking on the banner. There's another Facebook, and a few people are clicking on about. Okay. Let's get Facebook in there. Yeah, so that gives us what they're clicking on. They're clicking on that there, and if we go on a page, they looked at the coffee picture. So this page, in my opinion, is pretty boring at the moment, and I need to work on the index page to make it a bit better, to attract more clicks. Search engine, we scroll down, they're looking at a few of the pictures there. There's a lot of clicking on the wedding silo, which is quite interesting in comparison to stuff about the salon lower down. So when we look at our search traffic from this local search engine, I take all the other stuff off. Those pictures with the red caught their attention. The picture of Sam doing the hair over there caught their attention as well. So this is why I use Crazy Egg, because it helps me see where Google's clicking. Now I can actually come here and say, okay, show me new versus returning. Where are the new people going? They're going straight to hair, wedding. They're clicking on the banners. And what search terms are they using? Wedding hair, makeup artist in Port Elizabeth, makeup and hairdresser. And we're getting all these long tail keywords that are coming back as well, which is quite nice. Next thing we got is an overlay. Okay, and with the overlay, the redder the color, like this one here, the more clicks there are. The bluer, the less clicks there are. So it's 4 clicks, green, 190 clicks, and this is how the story goes on. So this is how I use Crazy Egg to help me refine and work. So what's interesting about Jay is when we click on a list, okay, this little pop-up comes up, and this element, is your hair dull and boring and not just doing it for you, has been clicked 190 times. Okay, it gets 20% of the clicks, which is quite interesting. And if we look at the home page, When I go over there and I hover over that, it's the hair channel that's getting all the clicks. And that's the title that's on that actual hair. So this is where guys are entering into the site. So I can follow this down and I can actually go down. So when we come into Google Analytics now, we can actually start looking at all the stuff and seeing what's going on. No, it's not the one. It's site performance. I'm looking for the user flow. So guys, the reason why I'm showing you this now is basically it's just to demonstrate. We've got the WR1 Upside Drive. We've got analytics connected. We've let people come in. We didn't need to have backlinks right away. This is for a local site though. It's not for national sites. National sites take more time. Even though SASE is getting ranked for city keywords, if we went to like hair salon, for example, which is a national keyword, I think it's on page 3. You're sitting on page 3. 3 or 4, it's one of these pages. It's sitting at the back of the index. And that's just because it's not of our interest right now getting ranked for. There we go. We're on page 4. But the thing is, we're on page 4 with no backlinks. So page 2, all we've got is silo architecture, a CDN. We verified we're a real business in Freebase. That's all we've done with this WR1 Money site, guys. And the whole site's just lifted right up and come right. All the keywords that we're targeting over 100 keywords in the DNA braid for SASE. They're all sitting basically in the 20s, the 30s, and there's many that are ranked in positions number 1. If I go hair salon Port Elizabeth, we're there. If I go hair salon Walmer, this is where they actually are. There we are. We're everywhere. Okay, all the keywords that are important to the actual business and the business locale, the site's actually ranked. Okay, so where's that? Yeah, user flow. There we go. So let's just come here and watch this traffic. Now I want to add a segment here, and I want to basically say, give me, where is it now? I'm looking for country. They can't do it there. Essentially what I want to do is I filter out the countries over here. There we go, it's this one. And I want to add an item where it equals okay. So we take that, and we can refine down right to the locale that we're interested in, and we can actually watch what these people are doing, okay, using analytics. So from a technical point of view, guys, what you want to do is don't have hundreds of tools. Just get your basic information, filter it, and watch what the people are doing. So the people come in here, and they move to hair and contact. Second interaction, they come in, and there's more. They're going to hair. These people keep on coming back to hair. Okay. Then they come in and do hair salon, and about, and hair. Okay, so what's interesting here is a lot of my wedding pages are not actually coming up. So why is that? When you're seeing this type of thing happen, then what you want to do is you want to start actually looking at your URLs within your wedding structure. Okay, so we've got weddings, and we want to, that's bridal hair, that's professional makeup, wedding hairstyles, wedding hair and makeup. Okay, those are all the keywords. We've got wedding twice in the whole thing. Okay, the URLs seem fine. I don't think that's the issue. So people are coming in, they're hitting the hair salon and about. There's 3 more pages there. Show me the group details. Oh, there we go. So that's how we basically find out. The wedding pages are not getting as much traffic as the actual hair pages. However, if we look at Crazy Egg on the hair page, let's change our snapshot. you can see from the heading page, the very next thing they click on is wedding. So they are actually stepping on. So when we come back to Google, we can go through the hair, and we'll probably find the wedding page down there as well. We can see where they're going. They're going to wedding silo, and they're going to wedding hair and makeup. Okay. So this is how I basically start understanding how the traffic that I get flows through my site. And this is why I tell you guys, build your site, create your silo, drop your first layer of copy in, get the site live, let it get indexed, test it, fix it. It doesn't matter. You got your call to action. The guys can phone you. In the case study, I showed you guys basically over here in the objectives when I set this whole stuff up. Literally, it was a few days or a few weeks after the site was live, the first leads started coming into SASE. They date back to basically October of 2013. And that's when I started building the site. I was still busy building and working. The contact form was working, it was connected, and it was redirected directly to Sarah's phone, and the people were phoning the hair salon straight away. From that time, people were writing emails, please call me, what's your prices? Communications started happening between the business owner and the market personality. And that's what we want, guys. We want to have sites that actually connect people, and we want to give them the information they need. And in order to give them the better information, we need to have these visual maps. We need to use analytics to give us the hard numbers, to give us the facts, and to allow us to segment the data into the chunks that are relevant for what we're building the site for. When we got it all set up, the very next thing now, we can actually start looking at the site and saying, okay, cool, what do we need to fix on the site? Okay, and crazy it comes in. We can see where they're clicking. What are they looking at? We look at the scroll map. Wow, the whole page has got their attention. They're looking at everything over there. What can I do here to basically get them to contact now? Are they clicking on anything? Then we look at confetti. They're clicking everywhere. They're looking at all these images. What's the time on site? So then I come here, time to click. We got guys clicking within 20 seconds. So what are they clicking on? Pictures. They like that one. They like the guy. They like the other chick there. They clicked on the Facebook thingy there. And navigation. They're clicking really quick. What do the guys click on and stay the longest? Makeup. They'll move to another article. They were down here. So you see how this tells us a story of what's going on when we actually look at this. Interesting question. Is hair perm available in Port Elizabeth, South Africa? So that's probably an older lady who's wanting that. That's a blog post. Okay. So you guys, do you see how this becomes a repetitive process where what we're doing is essentially we come here and we check our analytics. Right. Oh, old ladies want perms. That's really old school. Okay. Do we want to serve them or don't we want to serve them? No, we don't. So we don't answer that question. Okay. Or do we want their money? Yes, we do. How do we convert them from getting perms to be a bit more younger and modern and a bit more trendy? It'll bring more grannies into the hair salon. So this is the stuff that my head goes through in the whole process when I'm doing this. Okay, so what we're going to be doing next, right? In this particular situation, it's actually the team, the girls at SASE, they use Facebook to communicate via. Getting them to do a blog is something that they want to do. They're not really interested, which means I've got to sit and do blog posts. So I haven't set up the WRS1 blog yet and the one feed part, but I'm going to be doing that. I've figured out how to get the girls to post via the phone because that's what the bottleneck was. They want to use their phone. They want to sit on the computer. Okay, so the blog's going to get built next, and that's going to be the next case study we're going to do. We're going to do the blog. We're going to do the one feed. We're going to do social explosion. And we're basically going to do a dash stack. And in that process there, I want to go for the more competitive keywords like hair salon. So I want to go for the national terms to get the actual brand of SASE across the whole country. Okay, what does that open us up to? It gives us the possibility to open up a franchise. We could have SASEs in Cape Town. We could have SASEs in other big major cities if we wanted to. That's the scope we can actually move the business to. So when you're building your sites, always think like the business owner. What is their objective? How big do they want their business to grow? What are their goals, their dreams? How are we going to make that a reality by driving sales? Because if you think about every single business, it's leads and sales that actually make a business work. If you don't have sales and you don't have leads, you don't have a business. So in this technical process, being the architects of this WRS network that we're building, we have to always switch between the different mindsets of the business owner, the product, the market personality, And we have to create a congruency between all three of those things. And the best way you can do it is by having good analytical data, so that if the business needs to know what's going on, you're in a position of power because you're actually looking at the numbers. You know where the people click. You know what type of terms are coming on. If you were getting search terms here, for example, on your wedding page, and it was talking about bridal dresses and other things, that means you're getting the wrong kind of traffic coming into your site. What do you have to do? You have to go back and look at your page, and you have to figure out, okay, why are you getting positioned with bridal dresses? It's not where you really belong. And how can you use those bridal dress leads, if they are coming in, and lots of them, to create the right kind of leads for you, which is doing hair and makeup. Okay, so you got to also be dynamic when you look at this type of data. You got to sort of think, okay, how can I always use whatever's coming in, redirect it to benefit me? Okay. So guys, do you have any questions at the moment?
Okay, it looks like somebody asked a question and then seemed to have popped out of the room. So
It was just the blog URL.
yeah. So we got that. Okay, cool. Looks like there are no questions so far.
Russ, have you got any comments and anything you'd like to say at this point in time?
Well, to me, this is the most intriguing part of the test because obviously engagement rank is my thing. And this is all about what people engage in. You could actually superimpose everything that Matt has discussed today onto most of my topic in terms of video. Like, for example, certification level 3, where we're talking about automatic video traffic. If you were to see a heat map of, say, people ask me like why we chose a Pinterest-style layout, for instance, on automatic traffic on layer 3. If you were to see the heat maps of the way that people behave on Pinterest, or if you were able to see the way that people react to certain kinds of layouts, you would see the heat map. You would see their attention more evenly distributed across more interactive. The likelihood of their engagement is much more. And more importantly, one thing I would like to point out is that when you have distributed awareness, not just confetti, but the whole process, when you take confetti, the whole overview of the heat map, what you're really looking for is enough distraction so that they actually stay on your site longer. That's the only thing I would add to what Matt is saying is that engagement rank overall, the huge boon that affects rankings and that really that unifies both rankings and potential sales is engagement. And the more time that you can keep,
time on site.
Time on site is the big deal. It's going to become more of a big deal. In fact, probably anywhere between 2 and 4 years out. I mean, it's already like this. Traffic will be considered a hyper commodity, like just not that big of a deal. And you'll even be able to purchase mediocre to middle end traffic for pennies on the dollar because traffic is commoditizing itself so profoundly. So what will then end up happening is your engagement on that site will become more and more key. So what I love about heat mapping, confetti, this layout that he's showing you, the different tools that you can use, is it really does clearly help you define where people's attention and their engagement is marked. And come up with better and better designs. We found out that Pinterest-style layouts, Facebook-style layouts had a ridiculous amount of engagement. And when you look at these types of maps that Matt is showing you, you can learn to tell with a particular type of layout and a theme which one is going to get you more engagement by design. You see what I mean? In other words, the way that you design a site can, by default, increase time on site, and even if the content itself is not engaging, will engage your visitor. So that's really something worth thinking about as you move more through this type of process. Thanks, Matt. That's all I would really add. I can't really add anything to what you've done here. So.
No worries. What's interesting here is that most of the site's traffic comes on a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then it tethers off to the rest of the week. So you guys start getting these insights, and like Russell says, we build the sites by design. We use make the intelligent decisions. I can see a lot of people are trying to click here, and it's saying, is your hair dull and boring? I was just testing this phrase, and I put in the URL in the title, and that thing's getting the most clicks out of the whole site. Is your hair dull and boring? Just not doing it for you. And that's like testing a headline. And with this, we can see if they're actually clicking on it. Having wedding hair nightmares, relax. We specialize in wedding hair. Most of the clicks are there. The guys are clicking on that link. So that's those few things that are coming through that Russell teaches us in the persuasion, finding the pain. These are the things that guys are stressing about. And these heat maps show us that it actually works. You can see where they're clicking. You can see what they like with this whole thing. With this crazy egg, there is a mobile version. I've not upgraded to it yet, but I'm going to be looking at that as well. And that'll give me all the heat maps on the mobile sites. So what I do now is after I've done this review and I've looked at analytics and I've got a feel for my traffic, I know where my traffic's coming from, I know what cities they're coming from, and now those people are moving down through the sites, because what I do is I always segment, I add segmentations. I go to the country and I refine the filters. I never use Google's default settings, guys. I always go to what I want to know. The rest of the stuff doesn't matter. I don't care if it runs through my site. It's great. Traffic's good coming through the site. But if it's not creating leads and it's not creating conversions, then it's got nothing, no interest to me. I'll filter it out. So segment your data. When you use Google Analytics, break your data down into chunks so it makes sense to you. When it makes sense to you and when you start speaking to the business owner about the leads, you can say to them, well, on these pages, you guys should be considering speaking more about this. This is what the people are interested in. So, for example, that crazy egg showed us there, wedding hair nightmares. We've had this conversation a few times with Russell, like we use a bit of fear stuff, and we press those pain buttons, but we can even be probably a bit more aggressive, I guess, in this. And we can test that and see if it works. So this is where you start introducing split testing, where you can use split testing programs and you create your 2 pages. And it's become super easy to do that right now. Okay, so guys, what I'd like to say at week 8 is, this is the first thing. One is, don't overthink it. Don't let the technical stuff stop you from building a site and getting it live. Number 2, you don't have to throw everything at the market you're going after. Get your site live and see how far it moves, and then add a component. So in the case study, I've shown you the steps I've taken, what components I've added, and what the cause and effect was of each action we took. And we're going to be doing this with the rest of the network as you're going through. We're going to basically show you, as we add the components, as we add the blog, what's it had to the effect of the business, what's happened when we added other things. Okay, and when you go through a case study, this is going to show you the power of what we're showing you guys. Now, 2 backlinks, right? And I'm dominating most of the most important keywords. All the branded keywords that have sassy on it, we're on position 1, 2, or 3. If I typed in sassy hair, for example, let's just look at that one. That's going right to the top of the vertical with our brand. There we are. We're number 1. There's about us. There's our Facebook page. They know exactly who we are. There's the street. Come find us. This is who we are. We own the page. There's a yellow pages one. There's another accommodation one that we're on for sassy hair. Okay, this whole page is basically dominated by us. We own this page. Okay, and this is purely because of the way we build the silo architecture, the way we lay the structure, the architecture, the keywords we choose by using Kraken. We understand the themes tell us what conversations are taking place online and what conversations are important. We understand where the money flows to the market, and we build our silo architecture. We take the persuasion teachings Russell's taught us, and we write that and we drop it on top, and we tweak out those URLs. So the anchor text speaks to the pain. We don't just use keywords. We actually give the guys calls to action in our navigational structure through the anchor text. And then from that, we then start plugging our components. We get our site live. And this is the result, guys. You get way more reach than all your competitors in a local market. You can see it over there. Look at that difference. As I added a component, look at the site visibility grew. These are keywords that we're tracking, right? Now imagine all the variations that are coming in. Like in Crazy Egg, it shows us. If we go to the index page again, there's a ton of keywords that come in that we're not tracking, but because of the keyword DNA and because of the themes and how we structured the silos, those words bring in thousands of keywords, and this basically proves it. Look here, wedding makeup artist in Port Elizabeth. I don't have that keyword in my architecture anywhere. Sassy hair salon, Port Elizabeth, artistry makeup, sassy hair and beauty, professional makeup artist. The theming of the site tells Google clearly what it is. Google knows exactly what to do with it. It takes it and it puts it in the SERP results. I don't have to mess around and futz around and do thousands of other things that cost me money. I just build a site, a silo architecture, I theme it, I put my persuasion copy in, come back, add another silo, build it, add another silo. And as we're coming back, each iteration we're coming back, because we're connected and we're watching our analytics, we can come back each iteration and we can improve on elements on the page, but we can also see where the hot spots and the cold spots are on our actual site. Okay, so for engagement rank, if we look at this page where the heat's at the actual top, sorry, the scroll map's the one we want. The question I would be asking myself, and what I'll be speaking to the girls about is, okay, what can we say here that's going to create engagement? What's going to actually make this index page more interesting, and how's it going to bring the most important things we have to say up front? Okay, so yeah, guys, that's basically it for week 8. I hope this webinar basically showed you guys some cool things. Go ahead and look at that read through this. It's very interesting. When I did this, I was like, wow. And I got to really understand my markets very well. I know exactly how these women operate now. Now I can go back. I can change things on the screen. I can put my banners in. I can speak to the creative department that does the graphic design. I can tell them, okay, this is what we need here. That's what we need there.
Yeah,
and we can implement it.
Yeah, do you need some psychological counseling now that you've been through all that?
I live with 5 women.
Yeah, no, I mean, the mind of a market, you always run the risk. I mean, I do that for a living, you guys, and you always run the risk of needing to air yourself out. Sometimes when I've done market research and I've got into the heads of inside the mind of specific kinds of market, it's always a little bit disturbing. So be sure to shake it off, get a cup of coffee, go for a walk. Matt goes surfing, and then you know, he'll go study hunting knives and machine guns for a while. So one other thing I wanted to ask you guys is if this is your first time having gone through the boot camp, Tech Level 1, can you just give me a 1 so I know it's your first time? Okay, and give me a 1 if you are you came halfway through this particular boot camp, and a 2 if just give me a 1 if you've come through this boot camp halfway through, or you've been okay. So I thought we had somebody who jumped in halfway through. It would be you.
He's not on the call today.
Oh, he's not on the call. Probably he's going to, just so you know, we do have the new one rolling out on January 15th or so with Matt and me starting it again. I believe that's still on, right, Matt? Yeah, that's still on. Yeah, so we have another one launching then. So you can start over again. There's several of you interested in going to Tech Level 2. Now, Tech Level 2 is not scheduled. I don't have the precise schedule when it's not scheduled again this year, but it will happen towards the early part next year. Now we also have the live event. So I want to make sure that thinking about each one of your cases, that you're going through iteratively. If for some reason you did not get last week's webinar is already published. I did not make an announcement in the Skype group, but I did publish the replay of last week. It's already in your webinar replays. Does everybody know where your webinar replays are? Because they're incredibly rich in replays. Give me a 1 if you know where the webinar replays are, or 2 if you want Matt to show you. Just so you guys know where those are. Okay, it looks like most of you know where they are. Johnny does not know where they are. Let's show you where those are. Server's running a little bit slow today. We're getting hammered for a couple of campaigns that we did. But it's going to be at the bottom of your sidebar control panel. Sometimes, you guys might know, sometimes I struggle a little bit on getting these uploaded, but I try to do it as quickly as possible. They're a huge rendering issue. I've got to render them into a proper format. There's the webinar archives. Go ahead, Matt.
Okay. Now you'll find the webinar archives at the bottom, and that's where we actually got them grouped by week. Okay, and then in each week we put the latest increments at the bottom, and then the case studies will all fall underneath the case studies section of the actual site.
And keeping in mind, of course, we are zero tolerance policy for share. These are for you guys only in your own office. We don't care if you have somebody sitting next to you watching it. That's completely fine. And so week 7 is already up. I went ahead and put that up. So let me just check here. So you guys can go back and watch the webinars. If you feel overwhelmed by the sheer number of video things that you need to catch up on, one of the things that you can do is you can get a software called eNounce, which allows you to speed up. It's kind of fun to listen to Matt at like 5 times the speed. No, actually it's not. Maybe like 4 times the speed. And that does help you get through stuff quickly. Or even if you want to speed up through it and get to the part where you want to get to, it's pretty helpful in doing that. Now, you can also just look for what it is that you're looking for and go through it. Those of you who are going to move on to Tech Level 2, you can still move on. And if you want it, it's kind of like the next of the rest of the story. What are the chapters that come after this? Even if you haven't completed your first site, it's completely fine for you to start to collect information on where you're going, because you can get insights, traffic insights, one-feed insights on where you're going. Yeah, Jared, that's great.
Yeah, we're focusing. We're focusing on traffic and analytics, guys. We're going into a lot more detail.
Huge amounts of detail. Also, week 3, again, as I said, it's like I give away almost everything, including some closely guarded secrets that we have used to generate well over $2 million in sales. Every single thing that I ever used, even when I was marketing to you guys, is given away in Chapter 3 on Tech Foundation 2. When I looked back at that from the book that I'm writing on this topic, I actually have, in retrospect, I've kind of looked at how much information I provided in there and hope it wasn't too much, but take it or leave it. I think the more important things for you guys in that course, not so much the neuromarketing, but those of you interested in the tech side of things, the one feed, there are things that Jimmy Kelley is a prolific speaker inside that Tech Foundation Training 2 area, where he even gets into how to properly, one of his bigger weapons is how to properly SEO an image. So there's many, many little tidbits and nuggets in there that would just be too much for us to put inside this course. It would just overwhelm. And you can kind of get them at your own pace. You can, because you got to keep publishing.
Yeah, I think they'll be lost there, Russell.
Yeah.
Those things will get lost. Guys, you got to learn to understand each component and then when to actually plug it in. So you can see with the SASE site here, we've only done the bare minimums. When we come and plug the rest of the stuff in, we show you, we will dominate the whole industry that we actually look at.
Yeah, exactly. And I know you guys are ambitious, so it's completely fine for you to know what you don't know. And that's one of the things that we like to do with our framework is we say, okay, go one step at a time and, just the facts. Bottom line is that all you really need online to make money is a buy button. So once you get through these, everything in this training course has been immaculately laid out, and really just keep going until you get these steps done. Depending upon how ambitious you are, some of you want to know what's coming, go ahead and move forward. Yeah, so are there any, one of the things that we normally do is I like to find out if, I would like to find out where, is there anybody in the training call that has completed this process, that has completed a site? Can you give me a 1 if you've completed your site, or a 2 if you're still working on it? And Matt, where is?
Does that count? Does that count for sites that are existing already, Russell, or is it you talking about new sites? Just to clarify that question.
Clarifying the question, I'm talking about anybody who's completed their project with a new site.
Oh, right.
Okay. All right. Looks like some of you have, some of you have not. Okay. All right. Looks like for those of you who have not, my recommendation would be that you check in with the Skype group once it's complete. Since you're obviously not done within the 8-week period, check in with the Skype group and let us know what's happening. Okay. Don't give up on this process. Go ahead and get the site up, and also keep us informed of what maybe the roadblocks are. I think that's a really huge thing. Now, also, I know, Matt, at this time around, has everybody gotten their, is the research done for most people? Are we still working on some of that? Or?
know we've done all the draws.
Yeah, it's all done.
I think, guys, yeah, I'd like to speak to one thing that I think is holding every single student we speak to. That's I always say this at the end is don't overthink it. Tell your story as if you're writing an oral.
Yeah.
Map it out, get it live, and put it out there. It's the feedback that lets your site evolve. People try and build perfect sites. You can never build a perfect site until you actually understand how your audience is going to interact with it. And even then, it'll never be perfect.
Yeah, and some people.
So don't try and do everything perfect. Just get it live.
Yeah, and some of the guys here are saying like, there's nothing wrong with anything. It's just them. Like and I forget that too. That some of you guys are full-time professional SEOs. Some of you are full-time working. Some of you own your own businesses. So there's nothing wrong with getting this done in the 8-week period. We've tried to stretch it over enough time to make it possible. We also understand that you guys are going at your own pace, and some of them, Matt, are saying that's the real issue. Like, they love the course, everything. There's nothing wrong in any regard, obviously. So, again, don't kill yourself over this, but don't, like, one of the things that happens if you lose momentum on a project is you never complete it. So if you need a little bit of a kick in the butt or something, go into the Skype group, let us know how it's going, check in with us so that we make sure that you complete that process, because we really want to see you guys. This is the only required course that we have to attend one of our live events. That's kind of why I'm giving you a little kick in the butt here. I want you to finish it so that you can really get into the real stuff. Not that this is not real, but the intense stuff when it comes to traffic building, all the stuff that you can't really do if you don't have a target, if you don't have a money site as a target. And that's just really what I'm getting at here.
Yeah, because in the live events, we get into your business. We actually, if you want to speak about it, Russ and I sit and we just chat to you about your actual.
Yeah, that's the Friday.
We speak about all sorts.
Yeah, Matt and I on Friday we invented a process this last year called the business architecture, and it kind of came out of a need where we started to realize that people didn't really have enough business architecture to fully understand some of the things. So we actually tear your business apart. Person by person, limb by limb, and we started looking at what the architecture is of your business model. And we didn't expect people to find that so powerful, but it ended up being one of the most powerful breakout sessions that we had at the live event. Somebody's asking me, when is the live event? They asked me if it was in April. All you need to do is go to swallowyourmarketwhole.com to learn more. I'm going to go ahead and drop the training calendar date because I myself have to double check when that was, because we just changed the date. Nope, it's April. We changed the date. It's April 12th through 18th. And I'm going to go ahead and drop that in there. It might be a little bit too ambitious for some of you guys, but I know that a couple of you in here are already planning on going, including one who's already paid. So I know I'm going to be seeing some of you there. I'm sending this to everybody on chat so that they have that calendar. And even if you guys don't make it this year, we've had people that were ambitious enough over a period of 2 years to go, and they finally made it after 2 years, and that's completely fine. Point is that we have a structured system here. Sue and I were looking at University of San Diego, University of Phoenix. A lot of these major universities now have internet marketing. I don't know if you know, we were approached about 3 years ago to be a part of a college curriculum. And it was considered by one of the professors that I spoke to as too difficult for college. In other words, it was too difficult for them to explain. Since we had invented our own infrastructure, they couldn't do the standard kind of, basic, this type of thing. So what that means is that we're not just here to explain, this is a website and this is the definition of traffic. We do a lot more. We show you step by step. We're a combination between a trade school and which is a very profitable trade school, and a university. So as we've started comparing our curriculums, including Matt's curriculum for this course, with other college universities out there, we've discovered that there really is no training in the world like this. And the necessity to go live and because some of the things are so powerful, there's certain things that we can show you, like what Matt and I do with business architecture, what Jimmy does with advanced domain authority stacking, one link to rule them all, the traffic hospital recovery. There's certain things that we really got to see the whites of your eyes in order to, I need to be able to see if something's confusing you. We try to pick up as much as we can through through GoToMeeting, but there are certain things when it comes to really cracking open the hood, finding what's going on, and just really dealing with you in one-on-one case that we got to see the whites of your eyes. I'm sure you guys really understand that. Well, Welton asked, too difficult for college. Well, the issue was that we get into this because a college, for example, universities in the country, they separate technology or IT from marketing, from business. In other words, if you want to learn about think about what you guys have done in this training. You've been exposed to a stackable system of integration where business architecture, persuasion architecture, and technical architecture, as well as SEO website silo architecture, have all been exposed to you in a step-by-step system, carefully unbraided and laid out step-by-step by Matt for you guys, and a little bit of myself and Sue. And so think about that for a second. How does the current standard university approach these? Well, marketing is one BA. IT is another BA. It's a trade school. IT is another thing. Marketing, completely different. They have an internet marketing course at the University of San Diego, which I'm sure it's great for an introductory course. It's quite expensive, and no offense, it's just not going to make you money. It's not profitable. We were pretty blown away. The University of San Diego, if you can believe it, has a CPA course. And essentially what it sounds like is like terms and definitions. You're going to spend 3 or 4 weeks like learning what CPA is. Can you imagine? I mean, it's not application, really. So my point here is that you guys are in a rapid learning process that was actually, remember, our learning process, the stuff we put together for you as a software company and as trainers is actually proprietary in and of itself. Even if we didn't have the software, even if we didn't have if we hadn't invented the plugins, all the things that make it a little easier to stomach, the educational process itself is new. And that's part of the transformation of planet Earth right now, that literally what we call the new netocracy, the netocrats, the people who run the world with the web. We have to create new terms and definitions of what the future means and what it means to do business on planet Earth. And because the visionaries of our company understand that is me, Matt, Sue, we understand where things are, where they're going. And we decided that, okay, we can't separate these disciplines out anymore because it's not enough. We are in a renaissance, literally a renaissance of technological infrastructure, of new human insight, an understanding of global culture, an understanding of finances that's really about globalism. I know that's a big, scary word, but we're kind of in the middle of it. And as a result, it's important to begin to put these 4 disciplines together: business architecture, technical architecture, SEO architecture, and persuasion architecture. To bring all those together in a step-by-step system that you can act upon directly is 100% new. Okay. Oh, and Welton is saying AI. Well, artificial intelligence is actually an integration, and the closest aspect of artificial intelligence that we use for you guys is really, I don't know if you guys know this, but Kraken and the last keyword tool technically can be officially recognized as a overlap into artificial intelligence. I didn't know this until Sue and another natural language processing expert explained this to me. But natural language processing is a subset of artificial intelligence, Welton, which means that both the last keyword tool and Kraken, technically, although they're not heavy-duty AI, it's not like the movie Her where you're talking to a robot. Natural language processing falls under a subset of artificial intelligence. So yes, we are definitely dabbling in that. Okay, so it sounds really great that you guys are doing really, really well. Mitch says network empire equals university plus internship plus entrepreneurship. That's really what we're trying to accomplish, Mitch. It's, we're in our early phases actually of our, there's a joke that that runs around the company that, when are we going to launch? Like we haven't fully launched yet. we're kind of on your mark, get set. We're kind of in the get set mode because we are aware of what we have. We are aware that this has not been done before, and as a result, we want to make sure that our software and technology infrastructure is really, really robust. We have, as more and more people become aware. One of the core books that we use, this might be helpful for you guys, is there's a book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. who I consider a mentor. I share a lot of his beliefs that it's not enough to just know how to do stuff like Matt and I have shown you today, and it's not enough to know just what it is that we do as a company and what you guys and what we're selling. What's really, really important is to know why we're doing it and why you're doing it. I know, and by the way, to make a lot of money to support my family and have lots of money in the bank, I wish that was why enough, but it's really not. Okay, and that's true for your business as well. And I would like to put that out there that the how and the what, we got you covered on that. The one thing that we really can't give each and every one of you, and I want to close with this, is the why. And for example, one of you might be doing this because you're already a millionaire, and it's just a really cool thing. Like, I met somebody at the OMG Live event who was in his 70s. He was a very dynamic guy. And then I later found out at the table that he's like independently wealthy. And I don't mean like independently wealthy like, yeah, I got a few $100,000 in the bank. Okay, I mean like ridiculously wealthy and was there just like you or I go to a movie. Okay, like, okay, let's go to the cinema tonight. Oh, this looks good. Well, why do you don't need to do that? You have this movie at home. Yeah, well, this is interesting. It's the experience of the live event. His why for going was because it was another form of entertainment. Whereas another lady that I was sitting with was there because she had her entire life on the line and she wanted a new career, right? So I guess what I'm saying is that everybody has a different why. My personal why for teaching you guys this and helping you through this process and building a company that prepares you is that I believe that every human being on earth is inevitably going to be required to connect so many forms of communication channels that it will become utterly overwhelming. And I believe that the connectors, the people who teach individuals, in other words, to each his empire, this is no longer theory. It's being predicted by philosophers like my friend Alexander Bard, who wrote the Futureka trilogy, who I talk about this with frequently. The planet is going into a major transformation where every human being has gifts to share either through their companies, through the products they choose, through the things that they invest in, and they're going to be overwhelmed with the number of channels that they have to speak through. In other words, instead of dealing with 1,500 different megaphones, what Matt and Sue, myself, the rest of the Network Empire team would like is for you to have one single megaphone and you'll have enough skill to communicate through all those channels, and you'll be able to communicate your personal why or your company's why through a single location instead of running all around like everybody else, scurrying about, trying to figure out what the hell is going on as the planet goes into the new digital revolution. I mean, we haven't even seen the digital revolution yet, you guys. Like, this is the beginning. You guys will already be incredibly well-versed in technological infrastructure. You'll understand persuasion, how to talk to somebody's why. You'll be able to understand how to pick a product that works and doesn't like fail right out of the gate during the first mover's advantage when you're trying to commoditize your product. Don't do that. You will have learned so much. In fact, when you're done with this, we've had students that have graduated through this process already saying, yeah, if I had only known how much I was actually learning during that process, I would have treated it a lot differently. I would have valued it a lot more. So the stuff you guys are going to be learning is entirely integrated with what's coming. And that's when it comes to Network Empire, to each his empire, it's not even a question of whether or not everybody's going to be having a broadcasting modality. It's a question of how you know how to use it. In the same way that YouTube believes that every human being on earth is going to have their own television station, we believe that as well. We want you to be able to use that and be prepared for that better than anybody else, and really start thinking about what it is that you're selling, how are you profiting from it, and how are you going to communicate your brand, and how are you going to control your costs and generate your profits in the years to come. So that's my little soliloquy. I hope that was helpful about what we're here to be, what we're about. Matt, I wanted to thank you specifically for this training, and I guess everybody else you guys should roll back in, start watching the replays, but roll back in on January 15th if you didn't get it this time. And if there's any of you who have not finished your consultation with Matt, I guess the usual instructions stand, correct?
Yeah, it's the same process there.
All right. I know it's late in South Africa.
Guys,
we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah. No, no, it's fine. My last thing I want to say to you guys is read that case study. I did it to motivate you guys, and I built it in a very specific way because I know what your guys' pains are, and I wanted to show you that it's not as hard as you think it is. And I wanted to show you the results, especially a lot of you guys doing local stuff. Hopefully that will just give you the motivation to just, hopefully the lights turn on and you see what happens when you do specific things, and you guys can experience the same type of results I've gotten for SASE with just flicking it about a bit.
Absolutely. And we'll be publishing, we've got this report, this case study that Matt has done public on Network Empire News, and we also have it in here. So we'll continue to update anything that we need to on there, so stay tuned for that. All right, you guys, this has been Russell Wright, networkempire.com. Matt, you have any closing? Are we good?
Yeah, guys, I'm always on Skype as usual, like it's a perpetual mind. If you get stuck, don't bang your head against the wall, just ping me on Skype and I can steer you in the right direction pretty quickly. That's all I want to say.
All right, awesome. So we see,
but you guys are very close. Thanks.
Yeah, we'll see you guys on the next webinar, Tech Foundation 2 and 3. And if you have any questions about any of our training and courses, that's right for you. Please jump in on Skype, and I'm also here for you on the help desk. On my Skype handle is ThemeZoom. Please don't hesitate to contact me. For sales questions, don't bother Matt. Just contact me on sales support or upgraded training, and I'm here for you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the inside.